Wow, what a wild morning for Bitcoin ordinals today as I woke up. Holy shit. Two BRC-20s over $1 billion. What an absolutely insane time to be alive right now. Adam,
Dude,
how are you feeling about these scam tokens?
it's so hilarious. I just keep going back to it, man. You called this, bro. You were like, shitcoin season. This is happening. And you called, this was like in
This is a
July.
long time ago.
You were like, bro, this is the next wave. And I was like, bro, shitcoins are shitcoins. They are what they are. You were like, no, this is the new meta. So I just can't wait to visit you on your private island, bro. This is going to be amazing.
Just wait until we launch Omniset in a few weeks. That's gonna absolutely rip some faces off. So until then, though, I will leave it a mystery because we are working on it pretty hard. We're gonna have a fun conversation today. We got some cool speakers, some cool people hanging out on stage today. First, I want to say GM to Chris, our fellow official Emblem Vault team member, number 5 on the team, man. Glad to have you officially on board as of this weekend. How are you feeling?
Yo, super stoked to officially be official, and epic to see kind of the wealth creation event happening on Bitcoin. It's been a while since something like that's kind of happened. You know, cheap Bitcoins haven't happened in quite some time. So just having that, extra liquidity bolster the ecosystem alongside just kind of new excitement and development. It's good for the whole industry to have Bitcoin back in charge a little bit. So love to see it. A ton of stuff happening. Let's get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we got a few people on stage today. First, I want to say GM to Nome. Also, congratulations on announcing your project. I know you've been working on this for quite some time, as we talked, I don't know, many months ago about ideating on what you could do in the ordinal space. So congratulations.
Thank you so much, guys. GM to everyone. Thank you for having me on the space. And yeah, it's a BRC-20, revolution that's happening at the moment. And I'm happy to finally, make the token that will have a utility. And like so stoked about it and so happy to launch this project on a new level. We're gonna dive into details sooner, not later. And guys, if you want to send me the link for the stream, let me try to join it as well. I use my avatar, but would be cool for people to see like me speaking as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I would be absolutely honored. We also have Robin on stage. Dude, congratulations on the $1.25 million raise. I know it is not easy to raise, although there is a lot of interest now in the Bitcoin space. So congratulations on that, man. How are you feeling today?
GM, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about it. Yeah, no, that has been amazing. Like, obviously a huge milestone for us. And in this same breath, we also launched our public beta, which means everybody has access to Liquidium now. And we also launched our BRC-20 lending waitlist, which means now, like, if you are interested in borrowing against your BRC-20s, there's also this opportunity to like go on the wait list. We're working hard to hopefully push it by the end of this week. Yeah, so that's kind of that.
Wait, so am I going to be able to earn Bitcoin against my BRC-20s?
You are going to be able to use your BRC-20s as collateral to borrow Bitcoin against it, or you can be a lender and you can lend Bitcoin to borrow us and earn Bitcoin on your Bitcoin, essentially. But yeah, so essentially the same thing as with ordinals right now, but with BRC-20. That's definitely a market first and like a huge new market that we're dipping into, fungible lending. And yeah, I'm looking forward to how it turns out to be.
Hell yeah. So, Nome, I did send you a DM so you could join us on live stream. Robin, I can with you if you'd like as well. Nome, we'll hit BRC-20 with your project here shortly. Let's cover some of the stuff that's happened recently over the last few weeks. We just saw Sats listed on Binance. Absolutely insane. That the interest is even funneling over to Doginals and DRC-20, which we're doing a space there on Thursday. So look out for that show on Thursday. I saw today that there's just so much interest in Bitcoin across the ecosystem. I saw a Uniswap derivative project is deploying on Rootstock. So everyone is really believing in this Bitcoin DeFi kind of idea. Adam, what were we talking about right before the stream that we were supposed to get into? I don't remember. It's too much has been happening already.
we were talking about the crazy volume and the already what we have 2 over a billion right now. And we were talking about the disparity between trading volume, as you said, on Binance had what, $50 million in the last 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And on whatever, Unisat had like, I don't know, 50,000 or some crazy disparity in trading volume that you pointed out. So yeah, maybe you want to dig into that for a sec.
Yeah, so I actually just tweeted about this. I'll pin it up here.
I just pinned one of yours on the top.
Yeah. So when you look at, hold on, let me finish saving this. So when you look at, if you go to Coin Ranking, you could click on Sats and BRC-20 and you can see the markets. This is what I used to do in 2017 when new tokens would get listed in the ICO bubble. You'd go to look and see like what exchanges most of these volumes are coming from. You could kind of see like where the market makers are hanging out at. The quite large disparity right now for Ordi in the last 24 hours, it says there's been $3 million in trading of Ordi on Unisat natively. And then you have almost $500 million traded on centralized exchanges.
That's like doesn't make any sense, bro. That's like not in the realm of possible. How is that possible? 500 million, $500 million of Ordi? Is that possible, dude? I don't know.
Yeah, Chris,
raise your hand. Is that give me a heart or a down thumb? Like, who thinks that's really possible?
I'm actually going to defer this question to Chris, who's somebody has a lot of experience in leverage trading. What do you think the cause of this disparity would be between native trading of BRC-20 on Unisat versus the disparity of just large, insane amounts of money on these centralized exchanges?
Yeah, it's definitely just like chasing liquidity. A lot of bigger players are on the bigger exchanges. They have a lot more money accessible rather than being on chain and things like that. 500 million definitely seems a bit excessive, but alongside these launches, it's kind of a marketing gimmick as well. And
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah,
you want these tokens to do pretty well. You kind of want to support the native tokens on your exchanges. You kind of want to go with the trend. So I'm not saying that there's wash trading or insider trading or anything like that, but just saying that, these it's in everyone's best interest for these early listings to kind of have a pretty good, fresh start to the market. So there's probably some sort of truth in that.
So like they won't have any fee. There's like no fees, right?
Go ahead.
So if there's no fees, like I can trade $10,000 back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, right? I mean, is that kind of what
essentially there's probably some exchange fees, but the bigger traders have lower fees on exchange. So definitely there's a benefit for that for sure.
Yeah, so it leads me to the question, right? Like it's good from a marketing stunt where now you have $2 billion tokens that have reached a $1 billion market cap. So you start seeing speculation like, oh, what's next, right? It's probably going to be Track, would be my opinion. But also I was reading how Binance, somebody from the Binance team came out today and said the reason why they're listing BRC-20s is because it's anti-VC. Like it has anti-VC ideals, right? Because it's a free mint. And there's no team really running this. It's like really just a pure kind of community token play. So, right, Track's raising money. Does that still get listed even though it has a really devout kind of community behind it? Or do they start going down the line and start looking for these like quote unquote decentralized kind of tokens, right? Like OXBT, it was launched by a team, but it was a free mint. The OXBT team has burned all of their tokens. So it is kind of like this decentralized kind of idea. You have Pepe and some of these kind of meme ones. Is that what they go for? Or are they just going to go straight for volume and try to go for it and capture some of the largest ones? Or, right, do they create like a BRC-20 launchpad, which is what Binance is known to do, where a lot of these like top tokens have really come from. So I think it'll be interesting to really follow and see what happens there. My kind of point and what I was kind of trying to drill home in the tweet that I posted right before the show was that yes, now you're building kind of liquidity on these exchanges, but at some point, you know, some of these native DeFi and NFT products on Bitcoin are going to capture a lot of that volume. I think the traders just need to feel comfortable moving, you know, millions of dollars over to this ecosystem, right? Robin's kind of in this space where you're a DeFi product on Bitcoin, probably the first or at least one of the first natively. How do you feel about the amount of volume that's being funneled through these centralized exchanges, and then how does Liquidium position itself to try to capture some of that volume?
Yeah, that's a great question, and honestly, I'm not even mad at centralized exchanges. I think it's good, and I think there is definitely a place for centralized exchanges because at the end of the day, you basically defer, or like you move away a lot of on-chain activity, or like the trading activity that would happen anyways. If you put it on a centralized exchange, you don't have on-chain trading activity, which basically leads to less clogged mempools and stuff like that, and healthier fees for everyone. And most of the traders that really want to trade BRC-20s or every coin in general, they are happy with the centralization and added security risk, because they get lower fees, it's faster, and it's all of the benefits. And then also the access of like the amount of people you can give access to with a centralized exchange is much higher. Like, how many people do have like an Xverse or Unisat wallet compared to how many people have a Binance account? It's just crazy how many people you can reach from it. So yeah, centralized exchanges, definitely, I'm very positive about it. And in terms of the volume, like, I'm really excited to see all of the volume coming in. I think it's well deserved. We've been here since January, and the space has evolved a lot since then. Like, back then we didn't even have ordinal marketplaces. So I'm excited to see this. And we, as Liquidium, we don't directly address the volume that is generated through trading in the sense of just buying and selling, but we are a lending platform, which means it's a different market. And I think it makes sense to have this on chain entirely, because essentially you don't want to have any like custodial party taking custody of some collateral. So yeah, that's kind of our value proposition, and we can have a world where centralized exchanges and DeFi products can live together.
Yeah, I mean, if there's anything that's, you know, reigned true over the last, I don't know, 10 years in crypto, is that there's always going to be some sort of central custodial kind of, either whether it's a trading book or they're holding assets, because most users who enter this space are not going to want to self-custody their assets, or they probably should not self-custody assets. Shit, some people on stage here probably should not self-custody their assets, like myself. So it's exciting time. One more question for you, Robin, then I'll kind of go around. You know, you built Liquidium on PSBTs and DLCs. It's very kind of forward-leaning kind of technology. How difficult is it to build a DeFi product on a Bitcoin using, you know, two kind of emerging technologies that really weren't utilized until ordinals came to the scene?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I feel like it is like the number one reason why we don't have any competition in this space, and we're the only lending platform in the space right now, is because it is fucking complicated to build. Because basically none of the infrastructure has existed before ordinals, or like ever. Like this was the first time something, some I guess DeFi applications have been built on Bitcoin. Like, we actually were the first DeFi application ever on Bitcoin. There was nothing like this before. And I don't think that it is it is impossible to build on Bitcoin. It's more like there are no resources, no learning resources whatsoever. So I think what will be coming definitely is just more resources, and we're already seeing this, like wallets and APIs and so on. They are doing a fantastic job of documenting stuff now, which makes it accessible to more people. And then also, for example, PSBTs, you essentially can just use a Bitcoin.js library where you can construct all of the PSBTs and stuff. When it comes to DLCs, we're still in the early phases of that. However, there are two major companies building infrastructure for this as well, Deep Lake and DLC Link. And essentially, they're building APIs that every developer can easily plug into their apps. So it's becoming easier and easier. I think when something is very new, it's very hard always, but we're getting there. And I think that in the next year, probably anyone who can build an Ethereum-based DeFi application can potentially also, with a little bit more effort, build a Bitcoin DeFi application.
Yeah, that's what I'm most excited about. I think 2024 is going to be an absolutely insane year for Bitcoin. Maxis are probably going to have a heart attack when fees are out. We're just sitting over 200 or 300 sats per VVite consistently. Echelon.eth had your hand up. GM to you, and thanks for being patient.
Yo, GM, thank you guys for having me. Yes, everything, I think, you know, the ordinal space, it's like maybe at 0.1% of what it can be. Like we have seen just glimpse of, you know, all the people that are building on it. And I think innovation is good. And for example, what Liquidity is doing will bring obviously other type of infrastructures that will come in and will try to compete, and competition is always good. By the way, I actually set up today, because I had it once, but now I set it up again. I'm putting up my Bitcoin Core because I've been scraping the timeline, and I've seen this new narrative about the CBRC-20, and I don't know if you guys have seen it around, but apparently it's like a new method of indexing BRCs, they call it CBRCs. And I'm trying now to understand it better, because there are so many protocols coming in, like TAP protocol, the Rune protocol, and these things. So I'm trying to understand, obviously, what are the benefits of you know, all these type of protocols. So obviously, one thing that comes to mind is everyone is trying to reduce fees. I think fees are definitely a killer. I mean, what we have seen from 21, when there was the whole rally from the Ethereum NFTs, and people literally were spending hundreds and thousands of dollars just for gas fees for one goddamn NFT. And I think we're going to see that again with ordinals coming probably summer 24. Summer 24 probably is the closest thing I can imagine from, you know, the rallying up from April of Bitcoin happening. I think the price will surge from Bitcoin, and then it will triple down to all these collections that it has ordinals and everything else. And yeah, what do you guys think is the solution for reducing the fees? Because unfortunately, yes, another question is like, what do you guys think about you know, all this, no, not all, but you know, a few developers trying to you know, take down ordinals, which I think it will be impossible, because in my mind I feel like that why the hell miners would give up on the ordinal side, where pretty much all their money making comes from all these you know, transactions.
Yeah, you know, it's I'll take a attempt at this, and then maybe I'll let Adam and Robin go after this. You know, it's kind of a multi-pronged approach. First, you had Ordi, or I guess just BRC-20 is deployed in the most simplistic way. Yes, it is highly efficient, but it was efficient at the time to satisfy, you know, traders or just, you know, speculators for the ability to build fungible tokens and then build value, capture value. And what we've seen now is, you know, as every time BRC-20 pumps, then that trickles down to inscriptions, which then trickles down to bitmap, which then goes to rare sats, etc. And then it goes to the very like new kind of risk on assets after that. I'm kind of moving towards this opinion that I think Bitcoin is going to have dozens of fungible standards that exist, more than the opposite, where on Ethereum you have one, right? Or I guess three. You have BRC-20 for fungible, and then you have the semi-fungible ones. And the reason why I believe this is because on smart contracts, it's really kind of a player take all kind of situation, where once you get that smart contract done, because it's implemented in a standard way, then everyone wants to adopt it because all the exchanges need to adopt that standard, and there's more of a technical hurdle. We're here, to me, I believe, because Bitcoin lacks the majority of smart contract functionality. You're having communities come in and build, a non-standard type fungible standard to whatever satisfies that specific community's needs, right? Because Bitcoin's market cap is almost 3 times the size of Ethereum. And to me, it seems like there's going to be more like this kind of village where you're going to have multiple villages existing, or the equivalent of villages existing on Bitcoin, and they're all going to have a unique fungible standard that satisfies a way to transact value between them. Because now we're approaching probably 10 or 15 different standards so far. Whether they all survive, who really knows? But right now, we're also entering the beginning of a bull market. And if you've been around these bull markets, you just see liquidity just continually just bounces around across different chains. It's happening right now. Went from like Solana to Avalanche to Celestia to TIA to whatever, right? But on Bitcoin, there's a high degree of decentralization. It's a different type of community. I just think that liquidity is just going to keep bouncing around to different type of fungible standards and to different types of communities, and maybe never even leaves Bitcoin, or the majority of it just is retained on Bitcoin versus leaving to a different type of chain. So that would be kind of my simple explanation. I see Adam shaking his head. What are your thoughts?
I mean, you've hit it on the head. I would only add on the idea of fees. Fees are a good thing. Like fees, without fees, there's no building on L2. There's no reason to do anything more efficient or better. So I think fees are, we keep looking. I tweeted about before we got on the show. I was like, should we go to a fixed fee model too? I mean, should we go full commie? Or are we going to be a free market and let these things roll? I mean, that's the whole point. High fee environments cause innovation and cause people to act differently. So I have no problem with fees. I think it's actually a feature, not a bug.
Yeah, Robin, go ahead, and then what was Zobio right after? Was Zabia?
Yeah, so I totally agree with that. I think we have not, like, what we have seen in like ever since we started with ordinals is that compression played a huge role over time. It got more important and more important because fees were increasing and increasing. You wanted to inscribe larger and larger collections, higher resolution images, and so on. So we got recursive inscription. People figured out how they can use codes to render images and stuff like that. And I feel like there is often a narrative that you can only compress so much, but that's basically just limited thinking, in my opinion. Like, you can always compress even more and find more efficient ways to do things. And I feel like Bitcoin is the reason why compression is becoming very important and why innovation is happening on compression specifically, which also will be a huge benefit in the long term for example, AI. Because if you can compress large language models, you can basically put them offline on a phone or something. And if we can achieve better and better compression algorithms, like, that's massive for Bitcoin, for AI, for the whole tech space. And I think that's kind of one of the next big things. So if you want to build a big company, build something impressive in compression. That's my take.
It is. Yeah, it's exciting. Also, too, to go back to the C Cyborg standard, I believe they're utilizing the metadata field, which was just added into ORD 0.1. And so it's like 60% more efficient in terms of saving fees from my understanding. So we'll go to Wazobia and then Nome right after, and then Block Racing Club. You might be on mute.
I just wanted to say bye. I have to drop, unfortunately, but thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, appreciate it, Robin. Always a pleasure talking to you. All right,
Appreciate it. Bye bye.
Zobia's not answering. So Nome, also who is on the live stream with your awesome avatar. What's up?
Yeah, so oh good, so nice to be with the avatar. People can see like how I build. And so guys, if you're on the Twitter space, feel free to join stream as well and check this out. Yeah, so what I was thinking, it's good when people are using Bitcoin. I was so excited when NFT started in Ethereum. And for me, I'm an artist myself. And when I started, I'm like, wow, that's an exciting opportunity for artists to be, in this decentralized system and to have peer-to-peer connections with the collectors. So that's why right now, when it's happening right now in the Bitcoin, I feel even better. Bitcoin is such a decentralized blockchain. It's proof of work, right? And there is anonymity of the founder, and that's why I feel like it's a better system for myself and for artistic community to be here. And right now we are experimenting with how to make the file sizes smaller, how to launch tokens in this ecosystem. So for me, it's just exciting, and I feel like all the Bitcoiners were dreaming about having the blockchain to be used. And right now, like those people that are disagreeing with ordinals, they're just not seeing the future. They're just stuck in the past. And I'm excited, and I see the development of the Bitcoin. Even though I was not super passionate about this blockchain before, right now I'm onboarded. This is the way, right? The art is an onboarding mechanism for many people. And if we're gonna be onboarded into Bitcoin instead of any other blockchains, it would be even better. So that's why let's fucking go, guys. And fees are higher, then it's good for Bitcoin miners, then it's good for the Bitcoin blockchain. And maybe we should increase our our capacities of putting art on the Bitcoin blockchain.
Yeah, we're gonna dive here in a second into your project now, but I want to go around Blockchain Racing Club. Excuse me, GM bro.
Hey, GM guys, thanks for having me up. I just thought I'd chip in on the fee conversation and just the whole thing. I don't know how much experience you guys have had with the Unisat swap. Have you had any?
I haven't used it yet. My fear of that is that I'm not allowed at this point in time. I can't get anything I deposit out, so I'm waiting until they fix that.
Right. So just on the fees, like how that is used to increase, and save on fees, increase efficiency on that front is basically all they're doing is they're collapsing, what would be all these transfer inscriptions into what they're calling a roll-up inscription. So all of the transactions that happen over, X amount of time, they all get rolled up and put on chain as just one giant text inscription. So they're waiting for that to get, verified and out of beta and put into what they're calling the white module. But after that, that in that module, you save about 80% on fees. And a lot of the reason the sats BRC-20 is pumping is because it's the grease for that system. And, just with the recent announcement of Unisat, they're going to be using it for this indexing system. So, if I run a node and I run their indexer, I'll get rewarded for validating roll-up inscriptions. So basically, anybody that runs a node and runs this this indexer, can potentially get paid out in sats BRC-20, which is an interesting incentive model that they built around the token. And then liquidity providers also get a share of the action in the swap. So it's just becoming a larger ecosystem, and all the necessity of the high fee sats VB market is incentivizing this compression that Robin was just talking about. And that's the beauty of Bitcoin. That's what it does. It's incentivizing. And if we can't make the blocks bigger, then we have to compress our information to get it into the mempool.
Wait, are you saying we should make the blocks bigger? Is that your proposal?
No, I'm not a big block. But like, since you can't, right, it necessitates, it in the other direction. So, compression is like kind of like the main story here, and like that's part of like what CBRCs are doing, with the basically having all your deployment transfer inscriptions put into that metadata, which is like an interesting move for sure. But what Unisat's done with the swap and the SATS BRC-20 and like what Best in Slot and everybody's working on is like a very interesting incentive structure that could potentially like really reinforce that indexing system and like really make this like what is a very like clunky, like barbaric caveman style way of transacting tokens into like a pretty beefy powerhouse of a token system.
Yeah, Adam and I last night were talking about the Bitcoin Oracle that was introduced by the Alex Labs team, which is a collab or the federated model between, I think, Unisat, Xverse. I think there's like five teams that are part of that. And although it is still centralized, we were just discussing like why they chose this model, and it's like, well, if you're thinking about, if you're trying to capture kind of what the market's doing and then reinforce the verification and authenticity of it, you have essentially 4 or 5 teams that are running independent indexers. And right now, to create a more efficient market, you need to make sure that all of those prices are exact across all of the change or across all of the marketplaces, because right now, right, as we discussed in the beginning of this conversation, most of the liquidities exist on centralized exchanges. And if across 4 native marketplaces, if the price of Ordi is off by 20 cents and you're trying to move, 10 to 20 million dollars, that is going to have a very large impact on your slippage, and it's going to really prevent users and traders and liquidity providers from coming to the marketplace. So it's a good start. I do hope with the Bitcoin Oracle kind of idea, just kind of moving on to that topic, that other Bitcoin protocols do adopt this as well. And more so that not even just to use it, but just to put your information out there, to put the metrics so that other protocols can then take that information and then build on top of it. That's really how you unlock all kinds of DeFi type products. Because if you look at Chainlink, this is kind of like the equivalent of Chainlink. The reason why Emblem exists where we work is because of Chainlink. The reason why a lot of these DeFi products and a lot of these kind of like, I guess you say Ponzi's or these gamified kind of protocols exist is all because of Chainlink, and so that everyone can use the proper type of information. So you can make liquidity pools for NFTs. I'm sure people would like to see these type of stuff happen on Bitcoin as well. So it's definitely in the right direction. Of course, it's not as decentralized as most people on Bitcoin would prefer, but the progress to decentralization, right, and compression, I think is the right direction to go here. So I agree with you. Go ahead and Nabil, thanks for waiting.
Okay, thank you guys. Thanks for having me. Thank you, Chris, for letting me know about the space. So I just want to talk a little bit about the potential of the BRC compared to when I look at the trend at the first, because I know about the BRC because of the trend that is happening. So when doing my research, I just compare what happened last move on. If you just look at the meme coin, how they perform, but at the end, they are not here to sustain in the market. But when you compare that to BRC-20 tokens and all the ordinal stocks, like they have the trend currently and they have the utility to stay in the market. They have the utility to VAT them to stay. So a lot of big guys, like some of the guys are even like calling ordinals like sort of they have a vulnerability to like some sort of attacks into the network. But when you see, if you look deep down, like ordinals and BRC will come with a lot of solutions. Will come with a lot of solutions to major problems, or I should say, a lot of problems in the Bitcoin network. They will make the chain very more active. And like look at the miners. I think I see it in one resource that said that after coming out of the ordinals, miners have mined over $70 million, I think, processing validating the ordinals transaction. So I think that's good for the miners, and they will not let that go So they will keep there's nobody that want to make less money. Everybody want to make big money. Everyone want to increase his income. So I think they'll go with that. So the big boys in the markets are just looking ordinary as some joke stuff. But when things get real, when they reach their potentials, at that moment, the big guys in the markets will come in. And also that will give a lot of support to it will give a strength to the ordinals market on BRC-20 tokens. And I want to talk a little bit about the trading volume. Chris already said something about this. I look at the ordinals and BRC-20 token like it is not a normal things that people are seeing in the market. People already the masses, people are being lazy now. They don't want to make a research. They don't want something that seems a little bit difficult to them. So to access the BRC-20 token is somehow not as usual as we are seeing in the market. So the masses are ignoring it in one or the other way. Now that we are getting started to be listed in major exchanges like Binance currently today, right? I mean, such stock token is listed. I do not expect such trading volume, as Chris says, because I see like people are not really getting access or having chance to like get access in an easy mode to the BRC-20 token. But I was shocked about the trading volume. So as Chris said, I think there's something fishy or that the EF. So that's just what I want to say. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. BRC-20's tokens are strange. I'm convinced, I've been talking about this since April, that they're kind of a fourth type of asset class because they're not exactly fungible tokens. They're not exactly NFTs. They're not exactly ERC-1155 semi-fungible tokens because those are additions. They're like composable. They're like semi-fungible tokens, but each addition essentially is a different amount, which therefore, it allows for a lot of experimentation, but it's also very native to Bitcoin because this doesn't exist anywhere else. And to kind of reinforce the idea, now you see BRC-20 on literally every ecosystem, right? DRC-20, LTZ-20, SRC, right? And now even onto the proof of stake chains as well, like SPL and Phantom. Somebody just tagged me in Tron. I think it's called TRX-20 or something, right? So just only going to continue.
I saw it happening on Solana. It's like, what's going on here, man? Just like, yeah, it's crazy, dude.
To me, it makes sense on proof of work chains because they lack smart contract functionality. Proof of stake chains, I think, is kind of to be determined. But ERC-20, I guess ETHscriptions RC-20, it's the one that's definitely the leading there, kind of following that kind of ecosystem. So we'll see where it goes. But
I don't know. All I see is charts going up to the right, man. And when that starts happening, people get all excited, man. They get all excited. And you think, we were talking before the show, it's like the guys who did the ETHscriptions ones, who we were there when they were doing it. Like, it's like, hey, we just started doing whatever, .eths or whatever. And
ETHs, yeah.
Yeah, and it was like, these things were 15, 20 cents to mint. And I was, we both faded it, And that, I think you said, it was like, it's the highest ROI of all of them. It's like 80,000 ROI because it costs like 15 cents to mint one of these things, and they're selling for $4,000. It's like, yeah, it gets people crazy. Like literally people will do anything to get into this sort of stuff.
Majority of the people are here for the money. They're not here for the technology. So I think like people just really excited about the games happening.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all gambling.
Speculation is what fosters adoption and innovation. So generally speculation has always came first before everything, right? That's what happened with Bitcoin. So we'll see where it trickles over. I do want to pass it off to Nome, who we brought on stage as a featured guest, who recently launched a new project. Although it's called BRC-20 or it's BRC-20 with a 0, please explain to me first what is going on here.
So my project name is Nome. So it's basically starting from, being anonymous in the space and anonymity as a base layer of Bitcoin. So that's why it's called Nome. And we are an artistic community because I'm an artist myself. Oh, thank you for opening the docs. Yeah, and the BRC-20 is just it's just an entrance to this community, right? Because I was thinking how we can utilize the Bitcoin technology in a different aspect, and it's not like my first move.
First, we launched a couple one-on-one collections.
And like if you're going to look on our documents on the left, you see all the steps that we're taking. Like if you go for the roadmap, for example, you can see that BRC-20 is just the first step to really onboard people into the community. And the second step is a GIF inscription that we're launching with the Ordinals bot and Xverse team together using their APIs. The third step is a gallery, and then we have a mobile application that we are built with my team. So like I was developing this project for the past, almost a year already, to make it solid, to make it like the project that I would be proud of myself. And like this brand that I was developing is
really like started in 2016, and right now I'm executing it. And for me, you want to.
I'm muting for the stream and I'm muting for this right. I'm like sorry. So yeah, so the project is really like deep, and we want to do we want to contribute to the artistic community and to make it really better for everyone in the ecosystem. Please open the app and you can see like what this one is about. So it's mobile application, and I want to it's going to be built on L1 and L2, and I wanted people to really like use our mobile devices and use Bitcoin for this. Like they can like create their art, sell art to each other, connect with each other. It's like it's a combination, of art marketplace and social media all together. So maybe if you can open the picture, people would understand better. And I will try to pin my docs to the top so like people can also read through. So you see, like the project is really like was developing step by step, and right now it's really an execution through BRC-20. I'm pinning to the top the collaboration of our GIF platform with Ordinals bot and Xverse, and then I'm gonna pin our BRC-20 details. So basically, this token would allow everyone to use all the pieces that we have in this project, to use a GIF inscription for artists and collectors, to use this mobile application to get access to our Discord, and to have this plain environment, because I feel like token would allow us to give some incentives for the community to vote on like some things that are happening inside, or for example to reward people that are more active in our community. So I don't know why people are funding BRC-20s. Those are like have a great possibility to develop in the ecosystem. Feel free, guys, to ask any questions. And I also have Fred. He's a part of the team, and he can dive into some other aspects of the project as well.
Yeah. So first question I have is just looking at this. I guess it's an app that we have pulled up here on the screen. It looks like to me almost like an Instagram where you have the volume and it has the amount of owners for your different type of tokens. So it's kind of like an owner page. Is this something of the equivalent? Like if I'm trying to look at what's happened on ETH, is this something like that you're attempting to be like an art marketplace? Maybe something like Foundation that exists on Ethereum, or maybe like Super Rare where the token, the Nome token is just the native token of the ecosystem to incentivize pure art type plays on Ordinals. Do I have that correct?
Yeah, so why did I decide to go for the design of Instagram? Because it's like the easiest and the nicest for the artists to create their own portfolio. So when you have your own, your own like account, you can set up your art into this account. And what I'm missing in Instagram is just the community. It's a community, people that are passionate about crypto and especially Bitcoin. We're not going anywhere from Bitcoin. We have L1 and L2s that are excellent at the moment, and we can, utilize both of the layers to create this app. And yeah, so it's much more different. Like when I look into Foundation or Nifty, they don't have an applications, right? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're okay.
So,
keep talking. Good.
Yeah. So they don't have any mobile solutions. Like I want to be mobile. I want to like people to enjoy art throughout the day, and like not to be so focused on trading, but to be focused on art. And I think we're gonna like popularize it into, because a lot of people are asking how to connect Web 2 with Web 3, and this is for me the connection, like the tools that would allow people to use Bitcoin just during the day with a mobile application. Yeah, and if you see this table, it's like a comparison of the marketplaces and solutions that we have today. Like Ord.io probably is the closest because they have, this social consensus between like people connecting with each other, but still it's missing like the marketplace and like the solid mobile application. Yeah, that's like the future roadmap. We think we're going to launch it like at the end of 2024, and there are steps to really like finalize this application. So it's going to be a part of our project as well. Yeah, and I have like 5 people team as it opens right now. 3 developers, CTO Huz. He's like one of the greatest person I met. He's really knowledgeable. And Fred, he is CFO. He's on the stage right now as well. And yeah, so you see, guys, it's not the regular BRC-20 drop. it's a drop of the ecosystem that we built together as a team.
So, what would you say then if we're kind of taking a step back here and we're just thinking about artists on Bitcoin?
Jay can't hear you.
Oh, I forgot to unmute myself. So, if we take a step back here and we think about just art on Bitcoin or artists who are trying to build a brand, what has been the main issue so far? I've seen a ton of independent artists. I see Prism, who's down in the audience, who's kind of somebody who's been kind of a bit vocal leader of that. You've seen Bitcoin launch Quadrillion, which is more of like a project. Here, this is more of like a social marketplace for artists. But what problems are you attempting to solve by launching this?
Yeah, so I want to mention one of the problems that we have in the space, and then I will mention the problem that we're trying to solve. So one of the problems, right now is there is no artistic community, like a solid one, in the space, and like there is not so much support. People still don't understand like why should we put art on the Bitcoin. And they're like, when the hype happening with the ordinals, it's a lot about tokenomics and BRC-20s, but a little less about art and more about PFP projects without any future. And like I want our community just be focused on real founders in the space that are pushing the process forward and just making step by step, executing and building something valuable. Like look at the value, guys, look at the roadmaps and look at what every person is doing in the space and who is consistent. That's the big thing I want to recommend for everyone who is in the space. So, and the problem that I got into just the Web 2 world is a trust. It's a trust to Web 3 platforms, to the Web 2 platforms that it's like a third party that is in between me and like the people that want to buy my art, right? And like when I launch something on the for example marketplace, even on Gamma, it's still a person behind it. It's a team behind it. So I'm really passionate about the peer-to-peer and connections between people, and just using the Bitcoin blockchain as a foundation to help us build those peer-to-peer connections, because it's possible right now in the space. And a lot of artists, when they realize that like placing art on the marketplace, like on, for example, OpenSea, right? They changed in a couple years, or in a year even, they changed the policy. They said, oh, we're changing policy about royalties, and that should not happen to the artists, and that should not happen to the people that were building on this platform for a year, you know. And it's for, I think we're going to onboard first Web3 community that understands the basic principles of decentralization and peer-to-peer connections. And then we're going to onboard Web2 people that are just tired of account being banned or suspended on like different social medias, and hope they're gonna be interested to try the digital art, because like the next bull run would be an onboarding of really Web2 people, and I really believe in this.
Yeah, so I also want to note too, for those that are just listening, on this on the Git book that we're going through, it says non-custodial. So that's that's a big ethos and kind of like a selling point for those building on Bitcoin. You don't want your assets custodied, right? That was the issue we were discussing earlier with Unisat's kind of swap, is that it's centralized and custodial in essence, and so it's turned a lot of people away. So as you kind of look through, the mission of this and the roadmap, you mentioned that, this will probably launch towards the end of the year. Where does the token fit in the situation for this? Is it purely an incentive token? Is it just something to speculate on? Last week we had Jonathan Perkins on, who was one of the co-founders of Super Rare, and they've now gone on to add all kinds of different types of token structures, curation. They have the Super token, they have pools, and they said their main mechanism for having a token is to create like a decentralized curation platform, to where things get upvoted to the top because the community decides this, and it's less curation or central curation on Super Rare. But here, where does the Nome token play into the platform, or Nome token?
Yeah, thank you. So I pinned to the top first. If you want to guys check documents, this is the link to go. And so about the token, I was thinking how we can leverage the products that we built already, and the first product that we already have in our hands is a GIF platform for creating GIF animations on the Bitcoin blockchain that we built with the Ordinals bot. And the Nome token would allow people to enter this product. So that would be like the first utility of this token to enter the products that we have. And secondly, we would people would enter, the Discord community, and they would be a part of just one creative ecosystem that we built there. So that's the incentive for the token, to give an entrance and to really connect with each other. So to the connection, because like what we want to do is we want to onboard people into building. Everyone is excited about creation. Everyone wants to participate, but they don't know how. And I feel like there are people of different talents. Someone is a good content creator. Someone is a good developer. Someone is a good business person. And through, onboarding people into the Discord and creating environment where people can like execute small tasks, and we're going to reward people with this token, like all together we can build a better project. And for me, like Discord also is a tool to onboard community and to create a better ecosystem for the whole Bitcoin, honestly.
Awesome. I do want to ask Frank a question, if you are there, who's on stage, who's one of the co-founders. What are your thoughts on building this product as a co-founder with Nome, and what are your strengths? What are your strengths in general that will help fortify this project and help it grow to become, maybe the primary non-custodial art platform on Bitcoin? If you are there.
I think you mentioned his name wrong, Fred.
Is it Fred, right?
Yeah.
That's a Fred. That's okay.
Fred, you're muted if you don't know.
That's okay. He's just up here hanging out. Maybe Nome, maybe you can answer that for me. Where does Fred come into the picture as a co-founder for the team?
Oh, let me unmute. Yeah, sure. So Fred is, he's so knowledgeable about the financial system. He has a financial background in just Web2 world, and he's really good at just like understanding of the business model of the project. And I'm so artistic, and I'm so creative. I'm just like, let's do all the ideas I envisioned. And he's like, yeah, let's structure everything and let's make this solid so that we can pitch investors and we can really move forward this project as not just a project but as company. He helped us register 2 companies in California.
Awesome. So we do have somebody on stage, Johannes, who has his hand up. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thank you for inviting me or letting me speak. So first of all, I'm biased. I'm a Nome art holder. So so my first question would be that you have somehow mentioned that holders of your existing art would get some tokens. So I'm really curious how that will work later on. Will it be an airdrop or something similar? And then I have a second question, which is a little bit more hard to answer. So in the beginning, I was really excited about Trigamma because, yeah, they made these prints and everything was fine. But then I realized that because they have created an art platform and because it was curated, that most of all artists were not invited to the party. So they started as something decentralized and on Bitcoin. And in the end, it was the same party like before, like Super Rare, where only the invited persons were able to get promoted. So a big disappointment for me because I was initially thinking that, okay, we are on Bitcoin, let's make something differently than before because every other art platform like Super Rare, Foundation, everything invite only. So I would be really curious how you are going to plan, and I'm really hoping that you have some kind of master plan how to keep this decentralized so that everybody can participate and still attract visitors, because somehow curation is necessary. So it's a big dilemma, and I would be really curious how you could tackle this. Thank you.
Thanks for the question, Johannes, and GM to you. Yeah, answering the first question, for all the holders can claim 1,000 Nome tokens on the launch date, and you need just to fill out the whitelist form so you can access, and I will DM all the people today, I believe, for that are all the holders. I have like around 200 Bitcoin holders and super proud of it, and that you guys would be a part of this ecosystem. I want you to be the first ones because holders are the most like closest people to me, and I appreciate everyone supported me from February. I'm building this project, and people that were the first ones are like first is first. I always contribute to the first supporters. And answering your second question, yeah, I heard from other artists as well, that people are, not happy about having this limited access to the gamma. And like one other artist shared with me that he was not accepted, although his art is really beautiful. And I'm like, why, and it raises a lot of questions about decentralization and Bitcoin in general. So that's why I feel like it's a good balance. The platform should be open for everyone, but then we do curations, and then we can, do once a month, for example, since we are focused on arts, since we're gonna have the gallery first as a product, and then only the mobile application, that would allow us to create already, some system of curating people, curating exhibitions, and promoting artists. And what we want to do also with our nonprofit organization is to raise funds to support artists to inscribe pieces on the blockchain, because for too many artists that's like the fees are too high. And if we can help artists to onboard, even like giving them $100 each to inscribe like the first piece on the Bitcoin blockchain, that would be so valuable for many people that can still participate in this ecosystem. Yeah, thank you for the question.
Awesome. So I think that's a really huge problem, the big fees. So that would be a super great idea that every artist could have maybe one free inscription. That would be a great idea. And just as a mentioning additional note, my father is an artist of 40 years art experience in the trad art world. I submitted an image of him, one of his masterpieces, which was getting prizes in the real world, and they completely ignored it. So I think it's not only the art, it's something else, but it's not only the art. So I'm disappointed about Freikammer.
What's up, Fred? GM, and welcome back. I probably were a little bit earlier.
I'm so sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We got you.
Oh, God. Yeah, I had to restart my phone. I don't know what was going on. Yeah, but oh, man, so happy to be here. It's a great conversation. I came in a little late, so hopefully after I introduce myself, maybe you could reset the room and like let me get back on topic. But I am from California, born and raised in Fresno. I went to Fresno State, got my degree in finance there. Out of there, I was working in the finance department for like a medical networking company for a couple years. Then moved to work for an electrical contractor as a senior accountant. And most recently, I was up in Napa Valley working for some wineries as a senior accountant as well. Recently came back home and started to look more into helping my community, structure themselves from a business perspective, helping out entrepreneurs and small businesses. So like right now I'm working, obviously full-time with Nome, but also on the side, I'm working with the Women's Entrepreneurship Program here in my city, which is a joint venture between the SBA and Fresno State, to provide services and outreach to not just women entrepreneurs, but that is the target audience. And then I also provide freelance CFO consulting to a nonprofit art collective in the Bay Area in Santa Rosa. It's called Raíces Collective. And so it's just been a great journey for me from a financial standpoint, learning different industries, how they operate, and then most recently getting experience in the nonprofit sector, figuring out how they solicit grants and all of the compliance, that goes on in that sector. And I just think if 2023 was the year of ordinals, I think 2024 is going to be the year of BRC-20. And I think it's really important, that we maintain the verbiage, that BRC-20 is really, an experiment in what we can do in this ecosystem. And I would just encourage everybody, that's using BRC-20s for their projects, just to look into some securities laws, wherever you're formed at or wherever you're living, and just make sure you maintain, certain verbiage, that.
Yeah, well, along those lines, since you're in,
Right.
you guys, your business is in California, how do you guys look at it? I mean, I'd be very hesitant to drop a coin living in California, but tell me what your thoughts on it and how you guys are structuring it.
Yeah, so we have a for-profit corporation and a nonprofit corporation structured in California. And the BRC-20 is not really associated with either of those, other than that they may purchase some, they may hold some, they may exchange some at some point. But the BRC-20 is more of an artistic experiment for us to crowdfund this community toolbox of tools for digital artists. And so it's really kind of just an experiment for us. There is no, we really want to maintain and, make it clear that this is not something that you are expected to profit from, right? You may profit from it, just depending on how the market values it. But yeah, our goal here is not some type of expectation of return or profit. It's more of a access to a toolkit that we're developing and that we weren't able to get institutional funding for because they didn't see the value in it. They didn't see the profit in it, right? And so this is something that we really want to do for the community, and yeah, just leverage our community and have the community help us shape the way we push forward. And I'm really hoping, that we can be an example going into the new year for projects that, are similar to us, that we're getting rejected from institutional and VCs that didn't see their vision. And, hopefully we can provide a structure for crowdfunding using this new technology.
Interesting to say the least. One last question for me is just, it sounds like you have a heavy background in entrepreneurship and financial industry. Why make the move into art and put yourself in a place that is more qualitative than quantitative?
My daughter. So I have a 3-year-old, and just being in this space and I came into this space interested in DeFi and liquidity pools and, Uniswap and different types of token swaps and stuff like that. And just tokenomics in general, just coming from a financial background. But I didn't really care too much for the flipping artwork and trying to make money off of it. It just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And so I started to hang out more in artistic Twitter spaces, which was how I even came across Nome. And just started having kind of more deep philosophical questions or conversations about, what is art? And, for me, we have an opportunity here in Web3 to change the narrative and change the culture surrounding art. And I was just rubbing me the wrong way how I was seeing how quickly art was being commodified. And I think, my daughter just bringing me artwork and stuff home from school, from preschool, and just doing art. She loves art, and when I put those pieces up on the fridge, it never crosses my mind to sell them, And so for that, to me, it really just made me think what are the possibilities when the artists are able to shape the culture, as opposed to the people with financial incentives.
Yeah, love the take. Dogfather, what's good, bro?
Hey guys, GM, do you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah, man. Did you get your Christmas tree all set up today?
Yeah, it's all set up. I just need to bring it in and decorate it. So the car is so useful. I mean, it's such.
You got to check Dogfather's feed. He picked up his tree this morning. It was a good one. Yeah.
Man, it's better than a truck. I promise you. Just need one of them, and you don't need anything else. Even if you have a big family, it's really cool. Nome, awesome to see what you're building. I mean, you're really one of the most consistent person. I mean, you're like the ordinal screen, really cool. I'm really looking forward to the drop. So I just have one question. Probably you talked about it and I missed it. So sorry for that if I have just a stupid question. So do you also consider to have your token holder playing a part in, selecting the artist of the month or in gallery curation, something like an art cooperative, where if you have such a token, you, if you can be involved or, participate in these activities?
Oh, thank you for the question, Dogfather, and for support. I feel like you were one of the first ones who started supporting me, and we were like one of the first ones launching the project for the Orbit. And really nice to connect with you again. And happy Christmas tree, right? Yeah. So yeah, for sure. So like all the holders would be, we're gonna select the people that are interested to be a part of nonprofit, and that would be like a DAO of our community. And then like we would give people the rights to choose the artist and maybe like vote on what kind of activities do we even want to participate. When you gave me this idea of, hey, I want to vote for the next exhibition, and that's awesome. Like I'm down for this as well, because it's not just me. Like my name is Nome. It means that we are here together and we build together, and that excites me the most. If people would become a part of creative community and just express through art, express through selecting even the artist, that would be awesome to me. And what I believe in is that every one of us is an artist. Like if you haven't tried to create digital art, that's a good chance right now for you to really try it out. And it can be anything. Like art is not something that like traditionally we got used to. Art is something that's beyond that. Art, like code, can be an art, or even with creating like bookmarks right now, like you can inscribe your own book, or you can inscribe your personal story, and that can be an art. So I wanted people to think beyond what the art can be, and I hope we can onboard more people and give them a broader view that everyone is an artist.
Good question, Dogfather. Johan is good. You there, John? You might be muted.
Sorry. Yeah, and then we come back to the topic that art is again requiring curation, and even if it's a non-profit, then it's again a centralization vector like before. So repeating the history again. So maybe, Nome, you could also hopefully find something where maybe 50% of this is curated by humans, and maybe the other part is especially for finding newcomers and having some maybe on-chain algorithm picking up new art that can't be biased, because usually we all pick up art that we know already and where we know the artist. So it's always an echo chamber, which is repeating stuff we already know, So
yeah,
I'm sure you will make it great.
I feel like we're gonna consider two things. One is the open space for everyone to participate, so you can launch your art without any permission. The permissionless aspect is like the best what I can learn from Bitcoin, And then there is another place where it's a curation. So like if you combine those two things together, then it would be like even better, because for some artists they were working like me, like some artists, they were working for 10 years in the art career to really, push the message of being a creator. And for those artists, I also want to help to be onboarded into the Web3 and Bitcoin. And for them, like I would love to give this curation, But for some people, it's just an open space, and you participate, and like whatever like we gonna create you or curate you or not, you are still a part of it. And that's the beauty of being in ordinal space. And yeah, you're definitely right raising those questions and putting attention into what the decentralization is totally is.
Nome, I would recommend. We had a John Perkins on from Super Rare on Thursday's show this past Thursday. You can go listen to that. He has tons of experience in exactly this, and we talked to him briefly about it, because Super Rare has got a lot of crap from their community and artists about the way they curate. And he understands very deeply how difficult it is. You can't satisfy everybody, right? And but I definitely encourage you to go listen to that, because he had some great pointers just about the way they've approached it, mistakes, errors, things you would do different, well worth a listen. That's Thursday's episode, this past Thursday.
Yeah, it's exactly the same situation that we're just discussing right now. And he even said, which I didn't even know, the way Super Rare began with this kind of like allow list kind of situation where the artists had to apply. That wasn't even the intention. They wanted to begin with decentralization, and ultimately the community wanted centralization to start. And now they've been kind of boxed in the centralized, and now they're trying to expand it. And now there's like resistance inside to it. So yeah, it's a very fascinating conversation. I'd highly recommend it.
It's totally crazy. I mean, we all know if you guys follow Robness on here on X, and you know how he got banned from the platform, then brought back to the platform for his trash art, and you know all the battles that have gone on there. Yeah, I guess just prepare yourself, Nome, for a little bit of a struggle. It's not gonna. You try to have a little fun with it, but it's going to be very.
Whose page can I find it on?
Guys, I pinned it to the top. I found it already. I pinned it to the top. Feel free to save it.
Yeah, usually I don't share as a podcast, but we had a full episode about this, how literally the trash art movement was started because Super Rare was blocking artists. So maybe I would find the tweet and pin it, because we interviewed some artists from that time, and it was wild. So everybody was super mad about Super Rare. Yeah. And they wanted to do it right, but everything completely got into the wrong direction. And they started the art movement in the end.
Yeah. It's curation's a tricky subject. Ultimately, it has to happen, but you know, as Adam said, you can't really satisfy everybody. So I would say for Nome and for Fred, man, best of luck with this. It's the first real attempt that I've seen, at least on Bitcoin, in terms of a non-custodial art platform. We saw Gamma. I think there was a platform in the very beginning called Generative that also attempted this, but there's going to be multiple art marketplaces. I mean, if you look at just Ethereum, for example, there's 5 or 6 that are all have some success in a variety of ways. So you're really leading the charge here. So props to that. And I'll call on Dogfather for the last question of the day.
Yeah, maybe it's rather a suggestion than a question. So, I mean, everyone knows that I'm a big fan of Auth.io, what Zach and Leo are building there. Maybe one can borrow a bit of their ideas, like upvoting and comments and stuff like that, to incorporate, let's say, the broader community, maybe not just the holders, but you know, the general community, that you have something like, okay, if people make enough of noise and then people upload stuff, that this has some influence. I mean, it's definitely then giving a higher weight to, let's say, larger accounts, let's say someone like on Twitter or so. But it's definitely worth a try for such an art platform.
Yeah, absolutely. So Nome, any final remarks, or want to give any additional information about how to sign up for the token, for the mint, or just any lasting words? Again, appreciate you and Fred for your time, and also to pursue this. It is not going to be an easy endeavor, but it'll definitely be fulfilling when you get to the end.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me, Jake, Adam. Thank you. I appreciate really your taking your time diving into our project and giving the feedbacks. You know, that's the most valuable what I can get before launching like step by step this project. Yeah. So everyone who wants to participate, guys, feel free to check my pinned tweet. It says how you can get the whitelisting, and basically you just like fill out the whitelisting form in the Google Docs, and we want to close the whitelist by the end of this week, so by December 15, and all the holders get 1,000 tokens airdrop. It's not an airdrop, sorry, it's going to be a claim, so you would need to pay for transaction, and the fees, I believe, for the BRC-20 are so little. So what else? Yeah, feel free to join the Discord, because we have giveaways. I will post on Twitter a couple giveaways as well. So we want to onboard as more people as possible to this. And guys, it's just the first step, and you're gonna be surprised how much more do we have cooked for you. And we are happy just to have you, and we are happy to help you understand the Bitcoin ordinals better and to make some, steps into educating people. And this is just the first step of really creating this community. Thanks for having us. Appreciate it. Guys, happy Tuesday to everyone. I wish you success and luck in this Bitcoin ordinal space, and love to all of you.
Yeah, the hype is returning back. For those who don't know, myself, Adam, and Chris, we host this show Tuesday through Thursday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Tomorrow, we are featuring Crypto Trainer and Zero G talking about rare Pepe, collecting Pepes. Wednesday, we do our Pepe show. And then on Thursday, we're hosting a Doginals and BRC-20 show with literally every single marketplace. So be on the lookout for both of those. Be sure that you give everyone a follow. Make sure you go hop into Nome's and Fred's Discord so that you could follow the art conversation. Appreciate everyone's time, man. Always feel free to reach out. And until tomorrow, we'll see you on the Twitter space.